Since The Lion King's premiere in 1994, the idea has been thrown around that it is based in whole or in part on Shakespeare's 16th century dramatic masterpiece, Hamlet. Is that true? Well, the answer is a little more complicated than a simple yes or no. So we're going to tackle the question with the help of a truly absurd hypothetical question. Could William Shakespeare, were he alive today, successfully sue Disney for copyright infringement? Armed with 300 pages of mind-numbing US copyright law, I'm going to settle the case. So let's get started. Being the plaintiff, Shakespeare will be the first to present his case. A good place to start would be finding specific instances where The Lion King and Hamlet overlap. A quick overview of the two turns up a couple major plot threads in common: a king's death at his brother's hands and a young prince's quest to win back the throne. If we zoom in on the details, however, the two start to differ when it comes to the sequence of events. Where The Lion King begins before the king's death, Hamlet starts after the king's death. Their resolutions branch off into very different paths as well. Where Hamlet's quest for vengeance ends in high tragedy, Simba saves the day as all Disney protagonists eventually do. These differences complicate the case a little bit, but all hope is not lost. US copyright law places the emphasis specifically on similarities between works, not on their differences. A good example of this is the 1987 case of Steinberg v. Columbia Pictures, in which artist Saul Steinberg sued Columbia for infringing on a magazine cover he had created in their promotional material for the film Moscow on the Hudson. Despite Columbia not featuring the exact same drawing, as well as adding other unrelated elements to the movie poster, the court ruled in favor of Steinberg, citing substantial similarity in the identical portions. This is good news for Shakespeare, since it means he can build his case around shared elements between The Lion King and Hamlet, Disney's reordering of events notwithstanding. With that in mind, let's take one of the more applicable parallels between Hamlet and The Lion King for our case: Hamlet's encounter with the king's ghost at Elsinore and Simba's encounter with Mufasa's ghost on the savannah. On the surface level, the two scenes have fairly similar content. A father speaks from the beyond to his young son, inspiring him to take back the throne from the murderous villain. In terms of shared content then, things are starting to work in Shakespeare's favor. There is one more roadblock though, and it's called idea-expression dichotomy. This is an important legal distinction between ideas and their expression. Copyright law doesn't cover ideas within a work, like the plot or the characters. Instead, it covers the expression of those ideas. So, in the case of Shakespeare versus Disney, Shakespeare's copyright on Hamlet fails to cover the plot or the characters of Hamlet. Instead, it covers the specific manifestation of those ideas. This is where the case gets a little more difficult. Not only will Shakespeare need to prove that Disney copied certain elements from his play, he'll also need to prove that The Lion King's writers copied his specific expression of those ideas. On this front, Disney has a pretty solid defense. To begin with, The Lion King's cast and crew are on the record saying that the movie was only partially inspired by Hamlet, and that the choice to incorporate those elements came after production had already begun. In fact, the team drew on varying elements separate from Shakespeare, such as the biblical story of Moses and the legend of King Arthur. When it comes to the case of Simba's encounter with a ghostly Mufasa, Hamlet's ideas are there, but their expression is all but gone. For Hamlet, his encounter with the king's ghost is fraught with doubt, fear, and anger, themes that resonate strongly throughout the rest of the play and lead directly into its tragic conclusion. Simba's experience, on the other hand, is the polar opposite of Hamlet's. His experience is magnificent, transcendent, and inspiring. It pushes him once and for all to make the journey back to Pride Rock and take back his father's throne. So in The Lion King, Hamlet's uncertainty and darkness has evaporated into Disney's trademark optimism and cheerfulness. And so have Shakespeare's chances at a legal victory. The Kimba people should definitely sue though. Disney didn't even really try with that one. Hi everyone, and thanks for watching. I had tons of fun making this video, and I hope you all enjoyed watching it just as much. As you probably already figured out, I'm super passionate about literature and everything related to it, and I'd love to do more of these. So if you'd like to see more of this kind of content, make sure you subscribe to my channel and check out all the links in the description. Until next time!